Our state has some incredible problems. My name is Lynn Hinderrocker. I'm here to talk about that with you and talk about the trends that have shaped this state and dragged us in one direction or another. We're not really we're not realizing the dream we had way back in the early 2000s or even around 2008 or 9 or 10. My name is Lynn Hinderrocker. Welcome to WowBiz Nebraska. We're going to get it on right now. If you were going to stage a party, put an organization together, put some kind of professional event together, where would you begin? Who would you target? What would you try to turn it into? Thanks for joining me here on WowBiz Nebraska. I'm Lynn Hinderrocker, and it's a very interesting thing. In fact, we're going to attack that, and I want your input, and I want you to really think with me, plan this very interesting business event. Your input means something to us. And by the way, Bruce Arendt's input means something to us. Bruce, thank you for joining me again, too.
Thank you.
You bet. Bruce has provided invaluable feedback as we've talked about some of the projects that we've done here on WowBiz Nebraska and some of the big ideas and the trends and strategies. And I had this idea that that the city needed a different kind of group, and I'm calling it, for the time being, 50 plus. That's the plan, right? 50 plus, and the concept, Bruce, and I'm not sure I'm right on this, and I want to really hear your thoughts about it. Is that people that are 50 plus with a business background, we'll just say that in broad terms, could be just a worker, an employee, something like that. Could be a CEO, anything in between.
So the whole range.
The whole range of people they might be working there now, and the job might be retired. Okay. So now we've really got a broad group of people.
But they understand a business.
Right.
Setting.
They at least get business.
Right.
I thought that was, but they're over 50.
Okay.
And I thought that some kind of a group that they could fulfill their, how do I say this, psychological needs, their philosophical needs, their needs for identity and relationship, all right?
Outside of the business setting?
Outside of their office setting, to be sure.
Okay.
So many people I do talk to in that age category are a little, some of them complain that they feel like they've been unfairly pushed out, marginalized a little bit. And their job has been taken by somebody much younger, and they pay them less, and here they are on the sidelines. They've got 30 years worth of experience, and nobody is tapping into their experience, see?
That's a huge issue. I've seen that over and over again because people, and of course, someday I'll be 50. I haven't quite hit it yet. But people with all these years under their belt, and you've been through it all, you've seen it all, and then all of a sudden you're out-teched by, or outmaneuvered or something by a younger worker. Not to disparage younger people.
No, not at all.
But it seems like a waste of resource for a company.
A tremendous waste of resources. We are entering an era now where environmentalism and ecology is really becoming more mainstream and popular. People are embracing it. And, it's a very, very important issue, of course. But I'm thinking that the greatest waste on the planet are these people.
Yeah.
And I'm talking about almost an entire generation, mostly baby boomers, but as it gets down into 50, you really are talking some of the older Gen X folks as well.
But I think a lot of people after they've worked a number of years, they start to either get burned out or bored, or they lose the vision of what they, of where they need to be personally. There's a myriad of reasons why people sort of hit a little bit of a wall, and I think that makes them vulnerable to other maybe younger workers or people with other different skill sets.
I think you're so right. I think you're so right about that. The question is, can a group, that meets once or twice a month or something like that, can it solve that problem or help them in any way, in any meaningful way? What do you think?
Well, it depends on what people are looking for.
Yeah.
And they might be looking for, any number of things. They might be looking for just some inspiration, or they might be looking for some tangible connections with other people within their industry, or they might be looking for, if they're unemployed, they might be looking for opportunities.
They want to get back in the game.
Or they might just be looking for some sense of purpose in general, where they can sort of redefine themselves.
I think and the latter one that you've just mentioned right there, that really was my read on the whole thing initially. I really thought that was it, that this would be a purpose-giving kind of group. And you'd come there to kind of get yourself clear on who you are and what you're capable of doing, and the whole notion of potential.
Well, and getting past the fear of if you have to redefine yourself. I had to redefine myself 10 years ago.
Yes, you did.
In the industry I was in, I lost my job and I went on my own, and I had to it was a dream of what I always had thought I wanted to do.
A lot of courage.
But oh my gosh, it's so scary to step out on the edge of that diving board, and then you've got to take the leap. And I think that's what holds a lot of people back is fear. A lot of people are just afraid either of losing their job, or they're afraid of entering a new phase of their work experience.
And that is a problem. Now let's just pretend that you were the host at an event like this, just for the heck of it, okay? And you're kind of lining up the program the day before and figuring it out and so on. Do you allocate time in the program to polishing up your resume, enhancing your tech skills, so you're a little sharper in that area, and updating your top 50 connections, a list of people that you kind of know? Do you do that? Or do you come over here and say, what negative thoughts are running through my mind, and how can I replace them with more positive, constructive thoughts?
I think the first scenario has been done to death.
You do?
Well, there's nothing wrong with updating your resume and polishing up your skills or whatever like that, but we've all been exposed to that form, and there's nothing wrong with the basics and coming back to the basics and reviewing that and kind of trying to sharpen your edge. Yeah. But there are things that are deeper in life.
I think so. And by the way, I skipped another category. What if people say, I'm tired of the corporate scene and they beat me up, and I want to go out and do my thing. I'm not sure what my thing is, but I'm inclined to be an entrepreneur. I kind of want to, kind of like what you did and what I did. So, do we devote 15 minutes over the lunch to say the 6 steps, to kind of get you going in that role? This is what I'm dealing with, because I don't want to get the group organized and then have people sitting there looking at their watch saying, well, this isn't what I came for.
Well, again, there's going to be a whole range of needs.
I know.
So it's a tough target to hit, because there's a lot of different aspects that you've got to try to
employed or unemployed.
Right. Employee or employer.
Right. 50-ish or 70-ish. We'll have some of those people as well.
Yeah.
So they'll have maybe a different spin on things.
Yeah. It'd be kind of nice to maybe. I'm just thinking out loud here.
Yeah.
To ask people, when you said 50-ish and 70-ish, I'm thinking of a 70-ish person has that much more insight.
Yeah.
So why not ask people to lend their insight, to give their thoughts on maybe a free forum kind of thing, maybe open forum to talk about what their main concerns are, because one person stating their heart and their concerns they're going to resonate with X number of people out in the audience as well, or the group.
Oh yeah.
So that's a thought.
It is a thought, and I kind of envisioned this visually, that maybe at a certain point we get like 3 bar stools, okay? And I sit myself in the middle of them, and I'm kind of the interviewer type guy or whatever, And so we have a topic here, and maybe one person to my right is 70-ish, the other person may be 50-ish, and then talk with them about their different perspectives about their careers.
Because 20 years is a lot of time.
That's a big gap.
To build different perspectives.
Different perspectives, or say, what is the one piece of insight that you've gained? And the same thing over here, the piece of, insight, I guess is the right word, about yourself and how to manage your career and what you would have done differently and so on, and see if I can't make wisdom emerge in kind of a forum type format.
It would probably also be healthy from the standpoint of if you've got someone who's a CEO, let's just say, and someone who's way down on the ladder, corporately, to kind of, I shouldn't say spar back and forth, but to share.
Might be interesting to have them kind of come up and do that together.
Yeah, to learn from one another.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think that's very interesting. One of the things that I'm working on right now is employee engagement. We're going to talk about that the very next show that we do together. And one of the things that comes up constantly is that management doesn't know how to listen to the employees. They don't know how to ask the right questions. They don't have the time. They just don't know how to listen. They want to tell them things.
And I've always wondered, why is that? Because the management, at one point in their career, they were employees as well.
Yeah.
So how is it that once you're out of the trenches, you don't see the problems of those who are within the trenches?
I think it's a matter of time, by the way. I don't think they have the time. They would just want to get in and say, this is our new project, this is our new program, here's the script, pitch it, I know you'll be great, call me, you know?
Yeah.
And to listen to somebody and really read between the lines and you say, well, this is a person that's much more insecure than I thought they were, and they need building up or something.
Right.
It takes time.
Yeah, it does. You're right, it does take time.
And that feedback doesn't often come at the office. It kind of comes out of the building or somehow in a more informal setting. But anyway, that's another part of it. And it'd be neat to see a 50-year-old person say, you know, they kicked my butt out and I earned all the kudos and I did a great job. But they never, after 20 years, the boss never came to me and said, what do you think we should do? Right. And the CEO, who would be sitting there as well with me, theoretically, it'd be interesting to see what they say.
Yeah. Because maybe they're aware of that, maybe they're not even really aware of what they're missing.
Maybe not.
I don't know.
Now let's pretend it's the Bruce Aarons show. Let's pretend let's pretend it's the Bruce Aarons show, and you're standing there and you're welcoming everybody. Come in, thanks for coming. Go sit at the table over there, and we're at the Garden Cafe. We'll talk about that in a minute. And
It's a good place.
So, how do you start this meeting off? If people are drifting in and chatting a little bit, but they're a little inhibited, what would you do to kind of get people, boom, I'm excited I'm here, you know, and I'm not going to leave until it's gone because this looks like a really special event. What would it take for?
I wouldn't want to start on a negative note. This sounds negative, but I would want to present the dilemma.
Yes.
Where, you know, a lot of us are we share the same dilemma. You know, we maybe
So create the problem a little bit and get
a
people
little bit just so that people can
head.
relate. You know.
I see. Okay.
But we're going to dissect that dilemma into different pieces, and we're going to take different aspects and see which one relates to your situation. You know, I mean, I don't know that might be one way of doing it, because people want to relate to whatever the
it's got to be relevant.
Yeah,
you know, people just to get people to leave the office or wherever they're at, leave their home, and come to a place in the first place is not the easiest thing in the world.
It has to have some kind of value.
It's got to have clear-cut value. They might come initially out of curiosity,
right?
You know, so that's the thing. But I just feel like you know, the food's being sung. You know, do you want to eat something? Because in this particular situation, I think it's going to be an optional deal. Right. And so there's going to be a little chatter about, you know, am I going to eat or not, or what are you going to do, and how are you, and hi, my name's Lynn, and all that kind of stuff. You know, and I just wonder if
I think they need to see this as more than
a mixer,
a networking event, and not that there's anything wrong with those. And I think there's value in networking, obviously, but I think they have to see that there's something a little bit extra, a little bit more.
Me too. And I have an idea about that. I think music, by the way, so this is me now.
You gonna sing?
Well, no, but I think music could play a role in creating the vibe of the event. Okay. And I think this has to be an upbeat event. It has to be something where people go, oh, okay, well, hey, you know, we're here. I guess we're going to do something a little, you know. Yeah. There has to be that feeling like can't just be another luncheon.
But it has energy.
It has some energy, a little bit of unpredictability. And I think there should also, I'm going to tell you shortly here, we're going to have a break, and I'm going to tell you, I think there should be some kind of a mantra, you know, something that everybody says. I don't want to say cultish, but something that everybody says that kind of gets us focused on what we're doing here. Yeah, what we believe in, or what we're doing here today, or why we're here. Okay. And I've got it's a 4-word thing. Just
you actually have it.
I have something.
Oh, okay.
Well, I don't know. You know, I mean, you would be the person who could say, Lynn, that really sucks. I hate that. I would never say that in public, and that's totally okay.
And I might.
You might. Good. Yeah. Well, in fact, I might try to get you to actually say it with me here and now, and see how it sounds. Okay. You know, I don't know. Okay. Yeah. So anyway, we're going to talk a little bit about our sponsors.
Okay.
They're helping us get this program off the ground here, along with the KPAO Community Television Production Crew, which we appreciate greatly. But let's just talk about them briefly, because they're very, very different, and but very helpful in both ways. The first one is Curzon Promotional Graphics. Now, Curzon, C-U-R-Z-O-N. I just want to know that you know that Promotional Graphics has been in the Omaha, Nebraska area for a long time. They cover the entire gamut. They have clients, by the way, I don't know if you realize this, all over the country.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the owners get on the road periodically and make a road trip and go visit They're graphics customers.
That's huge because nobody has FaceTime
Nobody
anymore.
does that anymore. Nobody does that. That's old school.
That's like a house call.
They go out and
That's
shake
great.
hands and thank you for your business. I love that.
That is good. That's
That is
effective.
really good. That's called playing defense. They're protecting their base.
They're setting themselves apart. I
They
mean, who else
are.
does that?
Who
Nobody
else does that? Right. And they do, look at this work behind us.
Yeah.
I mean, that's outstanding production
top-notch.
and so on, top notch. And so we really appreciate Curzon Promotional Graphics, and their terrific work. So check them out when it comes time for you to need signage or building signage, all kinds of cool things. All right, secondly, we're going to talk about AlphaTech One. All right. They have a new business model, AlphaTech One. Everybody in the world has struggled and continues to struggle with viruses and cybersecurity, and the computer runs slow. Honey, what happened here?
I am the world's worst. I am. There's nobody worse than me.
At my home office, I have children climb on my computer, and then half an hour later, very weird things are happening.
Yeah.
Anyway, so there is a person and an organization here in the Omaha area. I don't know anybody else that's done this. AlphaTech1.com, by the way. It's ALPHATCHONE. It's not the digit.
Okay.
ONE.com. Right? And you give them a call, and they come to your place, your facility, your office.
Another house call.
House call. It's like delivery in the restaurant.
Like Curzon does.
That's right. They get out there to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's really exceptional in this day and age, because we live in a day and age that, call, our computer and go to our website, and, they're right there, man. They're right there. They undo all the cords.
And you feel so helpless on your own.
You just sit there and watch and say, rock on, man.
Yeah.
Give me a call in a day or two and tell me what the problem is. Yeah. Get it fixed, and then bring it back and hook it up. I love it.
No, that's huge.
That offsets the whole bot thing. You know what I mean? The whole. It's so huge. I know people that are into chatbot and alpha, obviously artificial intelligence, and my bot's talking to your bot, on Messenger, and thanks, and you're really great,
So impersonal.
Impersonal.
I think someday the pendulum's going to swing. Well, maybe it is swinging through AlphaTech One, but
it could be
coming back a little bit.
The human element is getting sucked out of commerce, and I think you're right. The pendulum should swing back the other way.
Yeah.
All right, we'll talk about that someday.
Okay.
In greater depth.
Yeah.
All right, so let's go back to this group. We're going to call it 50 Plus.
Okay.
Thanks for joining me here on this show, by the way. By the way, everybody, Bruce Aaron is a nationally known illustrator. He's a children's book, not only an illustrator, and I want to talk about it. It's a high quality. He's got a franchise now. He's got 2 books out. They're being sold across the entire country, but he is an award winner. This man right here, an award winner in the state of Nebraska, in the academic circles, and in schools and so on. Librarians love this man. He goes and reads to children. What a life you live.
That's the best part of my work, is doing presentations at schools. I've got about 6 different presentations that I tailor to.
How warm does this make you feel?
There's nothing cuter than a gymnasium full of first graders, I mean, that's the best.
And I have a 4.5-year-old, so
there you go.
So she's your target audience. She loves your books. Now, let's let the audience know the 2 books that are out there.
Well, the first one that came out 6 years ago now was Simpson's Sheep Won't Go to Sleep.
Yes.
Clever. It's a real problem for sheep farmers, I know. And then a sequel that came out 2 years ago that they released is Simpson's Sheep Just Want to Sleep.
Right.
I've been humbled by how well they've done.
Oh,
they've really done
I mean, they're so first class. This is not amateur work. And by the way, above and beyond the detailed and beautiful illustration, the rhythm of the poetry and the writing is superior, Bruce.
Thank you.
I don't know what to call you, if you're an editor or an illustrator first.
Well, I was an editor for 18 years
Yes,
prior
you
to
were.
this. That was the corporate job.
That's when I met you, actually.
Yeah, that's right. And I primarily illustrate. I've probably done about 20 books now for other authors, but I've got these at least.
So let's just tell our
authors,
let's tell our audience, excuse me, and then we'll get back to this whole thing. But I was reviewing business trends, particularly trends in website development.
Okay.
And do you know, it's all these very interesting things, but for instance, gradation, if you look at background colors on website pages,
right,
and how that starts dark and then gets lighter.
Right.
Gradation, it's kind of interesting. And other interesting little special effects that are becoming kind of more common. But number 2 is illustration. Yeah. Right? Instead of photography, having illustration on your website. And I would just suggest our audience check out Bruce Aaron's work, and you might want to have some illustrations made to kind of stand out and make a key point.
I'll just do a plug then, errantcreative.com.
Excellent. Excellent.
Yeah.
ErrantCreative.com. Check it out. That's a serious suggestion.
Thank you.
And it'll set aside your website if you have different pieces that are illustrated, and most people just don't have that.
But again, people want to make themselves stand out.
Yes.
And I think something like an illustration is a lot more engaging and a lot more
is.
intriguing than just a photograph.
It's,
a lot of times.
Couldn't agree more. I'm doing a website right now, as a matter of fact, and we are doing one page utilizing nothing but illustration. The others are photographic.
Wow.
It really pops.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to get back to this whole deal. 50 plus, here's the meeting, here's the event concept, and it's a challenge to try to surf. You know, there are meeting groups for entrepreneurs, right? Engineers, scientists, academics, right? Female entrepreneurs, spiritual enthusiasts, different discussion groups and so on. I mean, they're on Meetup as well as on Eventbrite. There's a tremendous plethora of groups, you know, morning, noon, and night. And so the question is, can the market even really absorb yet another group?
Well, yeah, because I think there's a lot of disenchanted people over 50. Not that everybody is. I'm not disenchanted. I don't feel disenchanted.
Well, tell me more about this.
Well, I feel inspired by my work, and I love what I do, and all that. And I know that a lot of people do, but I think there are a lot. I shouldn't say more, but there's probably an equal number of people who are, like I say, they're either stifled. They feel stifled in their creativity or in their growth personally, or in their job growth.
Yes.
And I think there's a lot of frustration out there where they just feel like what's the point?
Exactly.
Now, again, that's not to
and
say
yet they got to
everybody
bring home
feels
the check.
Yeah, and so they feel like they're just kind of on that treadmill.
That's so true.
And
I believe that's true.
Yeah, and again, not everybody feels that way, but I think there's a good number of people that do. So I think there is probably room for a group if people are interested.
That has
in
an
just,
inspirational tone?
Yeah, kind of has that bent to it, and,
Okay.
and maybe at least something where they can kind of gain a little bit of maybe inspiration or encouragement,
Yeah.
or insight.
Yeah.
Because as we try to forge our new path, if we're trying to forge our own path,
Forge a new path. I love that.
you need to. You can't do it on your own, really. You've got to sort of get some feedback, and you've got to get some direction, and just some. You got to.
I think you're right, Bruce.
Ask other people what they think, and not that everybody's going to have the right answer, or the right direction, but at least you have to sort all of that out so that you can figure out where you want to go.
Yeah, I think you're.
And I think something like this could be helpful.
I do too. Oh, listen to this. Why at Garden Cafe? All right, let's talk about that briefly. The owner of Garden Cafe got this idea. I shared it with him. He loved it, right? He was enthused personally.
Yeah.
And he told me, he says, by the way, my father is 69 years of age, not that old really, and he had a very a tremendous career and CEO and so on of a large retail chain. And so he really had quite a career. And now today, think of everything he learned and had to learn,
Yeah.
and the connections and the wisdom that's accrued and all that. Now, and I'm not trying to embarrass this man whatsoever. Many, many people do this. But he spends his day on the golf course every day, riding around on a golf cart and picking up guys and taking them around and so on and so forth. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not suggesting that there is, but to me, there's something wrong there that doesn't feel right to me. This man should be asked a lot of pressing questions.
Utilized somehow.
Utilized, and so I'm wondering if we got a guy like that to come in the room and be part of this thing, how could we help him, or do we set him up and say, hey, we got 3 questions for you from the audience that relate to your background?
Yeah. Could we tap his expertise, his insights, that kind of thing?
Yeah.
That's a question. Or he might be able to gain some new direction through somebody else in the whole thing. Maybe he's not tired of the golf life, but maybe he's also thinking about branching out into some other new things now. Maybe he's had enough of golf.
Yes.
I don't know. I
think that's all that's feasible. And but I want to talk about the word garden too. This is very interesting. That's a very weird deal. I just saw this week. Things jump out at me and say, Lynn, you got to talk. This is for this. Right. Life is, and business in particular, used to be very linear. ABC equals DEF. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And that was how you do, break it down and then just go sequentially and everything will be fine. Right? But life is so different now and complex and so many variables and things coming in from out of the blue and so on. It's more like the metaphor, business is a garden. Yeah. Business is a garden. And everything is connected and intertwined. And you got to pull weeds, but you know, there's this, and the bugs live on the flowers. And
that's a great analogy. It
you
really
see,
is.
I think it's meaningful to me. Does it sound too weird, too wacky?
No. I think there's a real picture there that I think we can relate to.
I think so.
Nowadays, now maybe it wasn't that way 30 years ago so much.
Yeah.
You know, I think things were a lot more linear.
Yeah, no, I agree. Somehow I think that led me to the Garden Cafe. This particular analogy, and so we're gonna speak about that. Okay. Not just because it was a nice room and you know they had the things set up and all that.
But just going on that, you think about people working remotely as opposed to you never used to see that.
No.
I mean, not. You know, very rarely.
The world is so changed, you know.
And now you could have a job where you could live anywhere in the world and do your work.
That's right.
And that's science fiction not too long ago.
That's paradigm shift.
Totally.
And so when there's a paradigm shift, it's not a bad thing to have a group to talk about it.
Right.
We got to go, by the way. Thank you so much, Bruce Aaron.
Thank
You
you.
provided great insight. This is WowBiz Nebraska. My name is Lynn Hinderrock. It's an awesome thing to have you here. We look forward to seeing you at the program, 50 plus. It's going to be at Garden Cafe starting September 24th, October 8th, and thereon afterwards. Thanks again for watching. I'm Lynn Hinderrocker. We'll see you next time. Thank you.